Today we are discussing if the Standard Range Plus Model 3 is actually worth it for most owners. Let's get into it. Before we get started in this video, I want to show you guys this really unique and new Tesla subscription box. This is like the first thing that I've ever seen of this, Tesla related, and it's all Tesla enthusiast stuff. Every month you're going to get something different. It's kind of a mystery. I'm going to show you guys this box. This is not really sponsored or anything. They sent me one and I thought it was so unique that I had to show you guys. The three main items that I really love and need in this was the bag, the hat, and the mask. I think these are really cool. I love this idea. So it's worth checking out. The link is down below if you guys want to check this out. Hey, it's Taylor. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe on this video. A lot of you guys aren't subscribed, and I'd really recommend you do, mostly because I'm pushing out great content. And if you don't like it, you could just unsubscribe, totally free. So I had a video in the past that compared if the dual motor is just as good as the standard range, and this was just comparing the two so it can help owners decide which one they want to get. And I saw a lot of comments saying how the standard range is so much more worth it, just get the standard range. And then the other half was saying the standard range sucks, let's just go and get the dual motor, it's well worth the extra $10,000. So in this video I'm going to narrow it down if the standard range is right for you or if you should just consider a whole nother car in general, like the dual motor or something similar like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys two examples, one person from California, one person from Philadelphia who has real world situations, you know, not like California. I'm gonna give you guys some of their opinions on it, an overall rating, and then after that, we're gonna finish with just grazing over what we talked about. So first of all, the standard range gets 260 miles of range with a 0 to 60 of 5.3 seconds. And it's around 38K. The dual motor is about 47,000, so it's pretty much 10,000 more, but you get 100 more miles of range, 350 miles, and a 0 to 60 of 4.2 seconds. The other thing that's the biggest difference is supercharging speeds are really different, and the Standard Range Plus gets 170 kilowatt supercharging. That's the max it can go to, while the dual motor can do the full V3 1000 miles per hour, and that's 250 kilowatt. Okay, let's start with a real world example now. This is my friend Jared. He lives in Philadelphia. He's experienced the seasons, and let me tell you now, he had a standard range. He did not like it. He sold it and bought the same color and everything, but in a dual motor. So let's see what he has to say. One of his first points was if you do any type of driving that's a little bit longer, even just to work and back, anything like over 40 miles a day or so, you're gonna want to have better range, faster charging, and better traction in different weather conditions. So he pretty much says the standard range does not give you that amount of traction, range, and all that. The other thing is he doesn't like how the standard range doesn't have any of the premium features like fog lights, rear heated seats, and how it doesn't have floor mats. That was a big thing for him. He really didn't feel like it was that luxury of an interior when you don't get things such as floor mats. Jared is also a pretty big audio guy, and he says the audio in the Standard Range Plus is pretty awful, and comparing that to the dual motor is insane with the premium sound. It sounds beautiful, but the standard range just does not cut it. I'm gonna talk some more on that on our second opinion here. So Jared says this about the standard range. In short, it's a waste of money, and if you live anywhere that rains or snows, the car is straight up dangerous being rear wheel drive. It's slow in everything, including its computing power. And lastly, it's just not a luxury vehicle. So overall, Jared rates this car a 6 out of 10 for the Standard Range Plus. And another note is he sold his car and bought dual motor, like I said before. So he no longer even has the standard range. He couldn't really handle it. Okay, now this is a second opinion. This is from my twin brother who lives in California. He does about 40 to 60, maybe 70 miles a day on the car from their work back, and then a little bit of driving around town. Let's see what his thoughts are. He says there's not enough range, even though he only drives 10 miles times 4. So he drives from work and back 2 times, so that's 40 miles. And then even after that, and he wants to drive around town, go out to dinner, do something like that, he says by the time he gets home, he ends up having to charge the car again because it's at about 30%, maybe even less. And he really doesn't want the car going under 20%, and he really doesn't like charging over 90% all the time. So he tries to charge at 70 or 80%, but he finds himself charging at 90% which is not so good for the battery every day, just so he doesn't get under 20%. He gets a little range anxiety too, so that's probably why he charges a little higher. Another thing he noted was he finds himself charging every night, which is kind of annoying for me because I have a dual motor in the same house and I never get to plug in. So my car's sitting there at 25% right now. Anyways, so he charges every night, and he said if you cannot charge every night or almost every night at your house or your workplace or whatever, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. So you're going to need more range, which is a great example because I do not charge every night. My brother has to charge every night. So I can squeeze charges in here and there, maybe one night, 2 nights a week or something like that. And I'm doing fine on range. I have no issues whatsoever. So that's a perfect example of the contrast between these two cars. And unlike Jared, we as in my opinion too, but my brother and I, we don't find the interior to be very lacking. We're not much audio people, but the audio sounds great. The 2 front heated seats are enough. If you buy aftermarket floor mats, you should be good there. So we haven't had too many issues. One thing that does bug me are the lights. I don't have interior lights in the standard range, and it's kind of annoying finding stuff in the footwell and in the side doors. And then the fog lights are really annoying not having to. You'd think you'd get them at like a $40,000 car. So that's pretty annoying, but we're not really complaining about that kind of stuff as much as Jared, who's in a different climate and experiences seasons and may need those fog lights and traction and that kind of stuff. Overall, in the rain and snow and stuff as well, we've brought this car a little bit in the snow and definitely some in the rain, and we haven't had too many issues slipping around or anything. But then again, this is California snow, California rain. It's not like ice is going to be on the ground and all this crazy stuff as well. And like Jared, we do have computer issues as well in our Model 3. In fact, we just had the Tesla service guy come out because our phones just do not connect. We have the app open, we have Bluetooth open, we walk up to the car, you fiddle with the door and nothing happens. And you have to do all this BS. You have to turn off Bluetooth, put it on airplane mode or something, whatever to get this thing work to open the door. Literally happened today trying to get the camera gear. It drives me crazy. I do not know what's wrong with these computers, but both Jared, myself, and Ryan agree something is very slow with these compared to the other Model 3s we've been in. There's just something off, mostly with phone connections, but just overall, the whole computer's a bit slower, I feel like. Even with hardware 3, and my dual motor has hardware too, so keep that in mind too. Ryan says here, overall in California, the Standard Range Plus is pretty good. The major issue would be the range. With California weather, we don't see much traction issues. We don't have a bigger loss of range because of the cold. So all that stuff's pretty good. The slower computer is frustrating. And he says overall, owning a Standard Range Plus in California, he'd give it probably around a 7 out of 10. I think the range would be the biggest loss there. And I want to throw this one out there too, because we actually aren't diehards for this car either. Ryan's the main driver of the car, and he said a couple times to me that he really wants to sell this car due to frustration with just everything. So far, we haven't sold it, and he seems pretty content now, and he's not too frustrated, but he's charging 90 to 100% sometimes almost daily, but usually 90% daily. So keep that in mind as well. If you don't want to charge to 90% daily and you don't want to get under 20% every day and you drive a little bit like how I mentioned he does, you might be in a sticky situation with your range. So that being said, we're gonna finalize here with just a couple things that both of us and all of us kind of agree on from the reviews here. You're gonna find yourself charging to 90 and maybe even 100% quite a bit. You're also gonna find yourself charging overnight all the time, almost every day, maybe every other day. So be sure you have a good charging situation going on there. The no floor mats, no interior lights, no fog lights is really just stupid for a luxury car is what it's identified as. So that doesn't sound very luxury to me. And the slower charging speed combined with the reduced range means you're going to be charging more and slower. So keep that in mind as well. Overall, that's going to sum up this video. Thank God we have 2 different people from 2 different locations in the US, so it gives you a great idea of what to expect where you mostly are. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.